Welcome, bodybuilding fans from around the world, to another episode of Primetime Muscle. I'm Tim Wilkins, as always, joined by the real deal.
Real deal in the house. How you guys doing out there?
And the one and only Terrick El Guindy. How are you, my friend?
Great to be here, Tim. I am so happy. We are back at looking elegant. Look at Chris Cormier.
Clean.
You are at your best when you're wearing a suit.
Clean.
Okay?
I'm just clean.
Okay.
I like to switch it up.
What kind
a
of
little
watch
bit.
is that? What kind of watch is that?
Cartier.
Cartier?
Cartier.
Cartier.
Yeah, you got to say it like that. And I'm just clean today. And
No.
I'm feeling blessed.
Quick
I'm
question.
feeling blessed to be here with you two guys.
You look nice, Chris.
Quick question, Chris. And I'm giving you a lot of credit for wearing a Cartier. But most guys like you, former athletes, they go for Rolex, they go for richer meal. Now, I appreciate the Cartier because the Cartier...
I'm a little classier than the norm.
You are. You are.
A lot of class and debonair.
Yeah, your Cartier is a little... You impressed me right now.
Thank you, sir.
You know, I'm without a watch. It would be great if Swole was one of our sponsors, hinted, wink, wink.
Yeah.
Yeah, just throwing it out there. So, and speaking of sponsors, we thank you all for your support of the show.
And your likes, man. We loving it.
We love it.
Keep it up.
We love the comments. Let's get down to business, though, gentlemen. You know, one of the things that the fans as well as the pros appreciate is that we cover all aspects of bodybuilding. Anyone that competes that has to use weights and diet is a bodybuilder. And bikini is one of those things.
Ooh.
The bikini class.
Bikini. We've got
Chris Cormier's girl, Louis down. She looked incredible.
Come on now. Jennifer Dory with the...
She looked incredible. She looked amazing. And a lot of people love her, but Maureen Blanquisco came in the end, ambushed her, and won the title. Now,
she did.
Jennifer Dory was not happy about losing that title. She was
that wasn't in the
not.
plan. It wasn't in the plan.
She looked incredible, and she was not happy. She's pissed off, and she's gonna come back. She's pissed, okay?
Any champion should be.
Out of all the people that took second on that Olympia weekend, Jennifer Dory is the most pissed off competitor. She's gonna come back in 2023 with a freaking vengeance.
I'm trying to think back to previous champions in the last few years, Janet, Issa, Ashley, and there's a bunch that always are vying for that. We'll talk about that in a minute. A bunch. But I'm trying to think of one that was potentially that angry and coming back with that much fire. And it's not like Jennifer throughout the year will do what Ashley does, is go out and dominate 4, 6, 8 shows and rack up titles. Jennifer's going to lay low, right? And just spring it at the Olympia.
Natalia Mello was pretty pissed off when she lost to Nicole Negroni. She was pissed off, and she came back the following year and she won. Maureen Blanquisco and Jennifer Dory, they both have a swagger. What I mean by swagger is this.
Not me, right?
No.
Okay.
What I mean by swagger is a lot of these bikini competitors in wellness, they like to be perceived as cute and sweet. And most of them are. But Maureen Blanquisco has an edge to her. And Jennifer Dory has an edge to her.
I like how you say that. You're shaking your head.
Edge. You know what I mean? They have an edge to them.
You made us feel that way.
Meaning, I'm not afraid to say that they might not like each other. They're not going to work out together. They're not breaking bread together.
Not trying to help each other in a
You know, and I think that Jennifer Dory in the back of her mind goes, I am better than you, Maureen, you know. You might have gotten this one, but I'm better than you. Now, Maureen looked great. Jennifer Dory looked great. But I'm predicting Jennifer Dory to come back in 2023 freaking angry.
I'm not putting no words into her mouth because I know I could best bet that she believes that she is the best in the world still, even though she lost her title. And I think that she's going to try to leave no stone unturned and trying to retain that title again. And it's hard to doubt that because you know that she feels it's actually hers still.
So talking about the upcoming year and everybody that's out there competing and qualifying now, there's only a few categories with that many previous champions on it. Fitness, you've got, in any given year, you've got Oksana, Whitney, and Missy duking it out. Maybe there's been a couple years where you had Brandon Curry, Dexter for 1 year, and Rami was out there as well. But you never have the amount that you have in Bikini. Bikini, they could have on any given year coming up, Jennifer Dory, Issa, Janet may be back, Maureen Blanquisco, and one more. Help me out, Ashley.
Yeah, I was going to
Ashley
say,
Kaltwasser.
Not to mention Aaron Stern.
Well, former fitness Olympia.
Figure.
Figure. But you have that many Olympians. Now, Terrick, that begs the question. Not just for excitement for fans, why so much turnover? Where's the legacy?
Dominance?
Where's the dominance, man?
Yeah, man. Like, come on, where's the
legacy, the dynasty?
Dynasty, that's what
the empire.
Good. Thank you, brother.
I'm there for you, bro.
First of all, I don't like how you coming on to me like questioning our judging, okay?
Well,
okay,
you know,
don't come on to me like that.
Hey, man,
okay?
I have to be the one because
don't come
no
on
one else
to me
gonna
like
do
that
it.
because you know I'm not gonna back down. I'm gonna tell you why.
We had you in second call out anyway. Go ahead.
Tell me.
So we've had a dynasty. Bikini is a fairly new division, and Ashley Kaltwasser won 3 titles. The reason.
Tell me the reason.
The reason that you don't have such dominance in Bikini, and is the same reason why Bikini is possibly the hardest class to judge, is because the physiques and the criteria forces them to be very equal. We're not asking them to be massive, so there's not space for them to grow. We're not asking them to be overly conditioned, so there's not space for them to squeeze the conditioning. So all you're doing is putting people in a very close line for them to play. And you can get a champion like Issa Piscini to fall to 6th place with a small modification. So you're having all these great competitors in a very narrow lane.
In a phone book.
Exactly. And if one of them misses, they're gone out of the top 5. Even if the champion, Jennifer Dory, might miss for a little hair, there's going to be somebody on that small space of the criteria which is going to jump. There's not a lot of deviations in Bikini.
So we're not talking conditioning. We're talking what? Because the champ, I feel like she was not as hard as some of the girls that was just behind her.
Correct. And if I could give Jennifer Dory just one advice is, the reason she beat Laura Lee Chapados in 2021 was because Laura Lee was just a smidge hard and Jennifer wasn't. She was a little rounder.
I remember that.
This year, Jennifer squeezed just a little bit the conditioning and Maureen was just a little softer. Hey, here we go again. Judges talking about you being softer. A lot of people go on the internet and say, oh my God, the competitors are getting so hard. I can't believe it. I am publicly saying that right now in the Bikini, some of the champions like Jennifer Dory and Maureen Blanquisco, they have won because they came in a tad softer than some of their opponents.
So that begs the question. So you finish the show. And you're supposed to go get your feedback, and you're an NPC person. You go up and you go, all right, Judge, I was number 62. And they go, well, next year you need to come in harder with more muscles. Well, no, duh. Really?
And some people are saying that. Some people are getting that feedback.
You're getting that feedback. You need to have a bigger arms and chest and back. Really? Didn't think of that. But then with a bikini athlete comes to you after the Olympia, they're top 3 to 8. How do you tell them to differentiate themselves when there's 6 perfect physiques on that call out?
Wait. We are dropping dimes here. Y'all better get the likes up. Get the likes up on this one. Let's see the support. Ladies, go. We're dropping dimes right now.
Make with the dimes.
Laura Lee Chapados, incredible competitor. She was over-conditioned, which made her lose her nice shape. If she was fuller, she would have been there. Does that make sense?
Issa, probably same thing.
Issa is like this. The more conditioned she gets, the more figure-like she starts looking. Because she already has a small waist. You get her to be over-conditioned, that waist goes real small, and then you start seeing muscles on that back, and it has that very prominent V-taper. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm not saying that you don't have some girls that could have been a little bit harder or, less soft. You have those. But if you look at, Jourdain Lee, she's incredible. She said, I should have been harder. And I said, no, Jourdain, you should not have been harder. What you should have done is improved your back pose. Phoebe Hagen, she shouldn't have been harder, and she's moving up. Amy Lynn Delgado, she should have been harder, and she's moving up.
Can you imagine, Chris, you and the guys get down to having glute striations. You're shredded. You've got feathers across your chest. The Christmas tree has decorations and ornaments on it. And you walk up to a judge, they go, should have been a little softer. And you've got to find that delicate balance as an athlete between muscular balance, symmetrical, and soft.
Well, that's part of the artistry of physique training, coaching, all this stuff. Knowing when to back off the cardio, knowing when to maybe take a week and chill out with the low carbs, bring up the carbs a little bit, adjusting it, start carb cycling. All that comes into play now.
Well, we've got a big year ahead of qualifications to see who is on that stage this year and who can differentiate themselves. Who's too hard and who's too soft and who's just right. But speaking of just right and something about when we come back, we're wondering who else might be making a comeback this year. We talked about Jeremy Buendia, but there's one more legend with a lot of rumors swirling around that we're not sure about.
Who could that be?
We'll cover that.
Oh, boy.
We'll cover who's coming back when we come back. And we're back with some absolute shenanigans off set, Chris Cormier.
Oh, man. Here we go.
Here we go. All right. We talked about this. This is a big thing you're seeing all over the internet right now. And if you're doing it, I'm going to go ahead and just throw my head into the ring. You're disgusting. There are bodybuilders across the spectrum of class, division.
Monkey see, monkey do.
Monkey see. Well, and if it's on the internet, it must be good.
Must be good.
Pros are doing it. IFBB pros.
That's the way I get my pro card.
They are not chewing their food. They're sticking it all in a blender. Chicken, rice, veg. I don't know what it is. Maybe a little broth. I don't know how they're making it wet.
And Crystal Light, some of them.
Crystal.
Trying to make some citrusy.
They're blending their food and
Orange
drinking it. Terrick?
That's freaking disgusting, okay? That's freaking disgusting. Okay, there has to be a point of your life where you say to yourself, that's freaking disgusting. Do not put a piece of tilapia with broccoli and rice in the blender. And who the hell is washing that blender for you?
With water.
Do you even have a girlfriend? Do you even have a wife? If I tried to do that with my wife, she would spear my heart from the living room and have me bleed outside of the house. You blending tilapia? Why are you blending tilapia, man?
Orange chicken.
Orange chicken with tilapia? Rice? You put a broccoli in there, and then you put your whey, that cake becomes like a nasty cake.
Chris?
I just don't understand. I mean, I don't understand. I don't know, maybe heard of someone putting oatmeal with protein, which is, that's a good little drink like that, but I don't understand. I just don't understand. I don't understand.
I'm not even drinking it, but I'll take oatmeal, throw it in with some protein, a couple of eggs, and make a pancake.
Never a chicken breast.
Never chicken. There's no physical, actual meaty type protein going in.
And I'm sure there's nothing good coming out of that when you go to the bathroom.
Man,
nothing good coming out of that.
When you chew your food. I'm not a doctor, okay? Disclaimer here, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nutritionist, I'm not. But correct me if I'm wrong if you're a doctor. When you chew your food first, when you look at food, you know that expression, oh, my mouth is watery, because when you look at food and you get hungry, your body produces liquid. That's why your mouth gets watery. When you chew food, you activate stuff in your body, which helps with your digestion, okay? So, I'm not quite sure if this blend, it's freaking disgusting. okay? Somebody did that in my house, I would beat the hell out of them. I don't care how big you are. You can be Michael Crezo, you can be Hunter LeBron. You blend the tilapia on my blender, I'll beat the shit out of you.
I'm just wondering, do they think they're just eating so many meals that they can't chew anymore? And
maybe that's it. Maybe they're thinking
what would be
the chewing is important for your body to recognize food is coming down. Hey man, when you do a lot of these, the protein shakes once in a while are good, but if you just drink protein shakes, that's what you do to lose weight, right? You're like over the weight and you just do protein shakes. I believe there's a benefit. Again, I'm not a doctor. If you're a doctor, write it on the comment. If you're a medical, professional, write it on the comment. There is something about chewing food that activates your digestive system.
I think they were watching a lot of Rocky
with the eggs.
And the egg, and just, I'm going to drink my eggs down, and I think that...
He put some protein in that shit. Put some protein, it gets your skin dark too. Yeah. Put your posing trunk, that dirty posing trunk, put it in there so you feel like you're hardcore. Get your disgusting glove, put it in there
and
too.
Most of these guys, this is their job, is to eat and to train and to rest and to do it over and over and over again. That's what I read on you guys' backpacks. That's what I read on your guys' slogans that you put in your Instagram pages. So why are we doing this?
So, now that we've completely grossed you out, hopefully you haven't left, one of the big topics that's been kind of bouncing around for a while, well, last couple of years actually, but it's starting to pick up a little steam. 6 or 7-time Mr. Olympia Phil Heath. 6?
7.
7. Sorry, Phil. 7.
You tied Arnold Schwarzenegger.
7-time Mr. Olympia Phil Heath. A lot of people wondering, is he making a comeback? Is he getting ready to get back on stage? Seeing him recently, he's doing everything under the sun. He's motivational speaking. He's endorsing a ton of proper stuff. But here's the thing, though. He looks really good. I mean, his offseason, he hasn't gotten out of shape per se. He's not stage size, but he looks really good.
It looked like he started getting back into his training again. I saw him in Los Angeles, with a tank top on, greeting the fans at the Fit Expo there. And, I mean, he looks like he's still got some juice left to get back up there. I wish he would have never left, but I know he had to take time, had the injury and had to take a lot of healing time. And probably downtime, with the family and everything, and getting involved in other things. He came on to the Olympia stage last year and did the commentary with you.
Yeah, did a great job.
And I guarantee you, he was watching that show thinking, I could have won this show right now and got my 8th win right now today. I guarantee you that.
Beating who? Hadi?
I'm just telling you,
beating. No, don't back down, Chris. Just.
Well, that's who was in the show, right?
No, are you talking about 2021 or 2022?
I'm talking about when he was doing a commentary. I bet you he was watching that show.
So go ahead, look at the camera and say Phil Heath would have beaten Hadi Shafir.
I'm not saying.
Don't back down. Be a man and look at the camera.
Can I get the camera and get it off?
Go ahead.
Get it off.
We'll translate that in Farsi as well.
Get it off this guy. No, I'm telling you, I believe that Phil Heath was watching that show, feeling like he could have came away with another victory at the Olympia.
That's got nothing to do with Hadi. What that is an athlete sitting on the sidelines.
I think Phil Heath was thinking that, not saying that, okay?
But that's an athlete that's sitting on the sidelines saying,
he was watching that show.
Put me in, coach. I'm ready to play. Yeah, you want to get out there, you want to fight, you want to do your thing.
I think he was one. I bet you that made him
You already saved yourself. I got to give you credit.
That made it.
When we started Prime Time Muscle, you would have saved yourself from that one. You're getting better. You're getting better. You're doing good. You're doing good.
He's doing better getting out of the holes you dig for him.
Hey,
I got enough experience with you to know better now.
Phil Heath is one of the greatest bodybuilders of all times. Like you were saying, your wife was looking at his forearms. They're huge. He's got those huge forearms, Popeye forearms, right?
We're going to put blinders on your wife next time.
He's got the biceps.
Enough with the sebum, honey.
He's got the biceps. This guy is a genetic freak. Here's the thing about Phil. You have a small window of opportunity physically that you can go on stage and display a great physique. Wouldn't it be amazing if Phil he went back to the Olympia stage. What if he went to the Masters Olympia in Romania and he won that show? What would that do to his legacy, right? And I think that you look at Jay Cutler, you look at some of these guys, you're treated like a rock star, right? You're a bodybuilder and everybody in the world loves you. And then you retire. And there's a huge drop, right, Chris?
Less cameras.
Less cameras,
high
less
hellos.
glory. Here comes Nick Walker walking by,
you.
and nobody gives a damn about who you were 2-3 years ago. With the Instagram generation, people just love whoever is there. If C-Bum retired and didn't compete for 3 years, he would miss some of that excitement in his life. Phil Heath, still young. He still looks like a freak. He's an intelligent guy. He's got personality. He's good looking. I still think he can do something amazing on stage. And even after he does something amazing on stage, he can be great off stage.
Really good point, because it doesn't have to be for your legacy, the Olympia. You look at the new generation of guys, you go, it looks like a pretty daunting task. You jump back in, you win 3 to 5 Masters like Vince on your way out the door. You win Masters Mr. Olympia a couple times, and then you win Vancouver, maybe you win Indy or New York. You get out there and you duke it out. You don't have to be,
I don't know why he started just doing Olympias. Ronnie came off and done other shows that wasn't the Olympia. Did we have a chance to see him on a master stage? I'm not sure, but I know he'd definitely be eyeing that title. I know he wants another title.
First you get the money. Second, you get the publicity. Okay, what people don't understand is once you win these titles, you become popular, you start trending in the internet, and people start loving you.
Right.
That's money. That's money.
Yeah.
Okay, we look in the internet and we go, okay, who won the Master Olympia? Kamal won the Master Olympia. If you're a sponsor of a company, you go, okay, anti-aging, let's put money on this guy. He's winning shows at 52 years old. Let's call him up, call his agent, and say, hey, we'll give you 15 grand. We're an anti-aging company.
Yeah, Aspire, T-Clinics USA, Transcend, Titan, all these guys.
That's the whole thing right now.
Pouring some money in there. So that's the thing, though, these guys, you young guys need to understand this, and you would share this in a red hot minute. When you start this and you decide this is the sacrifice I'm going to make to get into the open, you got to start thinking about not just your legacy as an athlete, but you're a brand. You're brand Bumstead. How am I going to capitalize on this brand for the years that I've got it, and how could I possibly make it live on after my stage time? You got to think about that, because you're sacrificing a lot of health to get there. You got to be thinking about the next moves 3, 4, 5 years down the road.
That's correct, and it's a lot different from back in the day. You have the different social media outlets to make your brand as big as possible. It's up to you how hard you want to work on it. But he was that first Mr. Olympia that we had that had the use of social media in his pocket. So.
Well, we don't know if he's coming back this year, although the rumors continue, and it would be awesome. Phil, I know you watch. It would be awesome to see you at the Masters Olympia in Romania at Cluj-Napoca, along with all these other stars that who knows coming out of the woodwork. We know there's some big stars coming to cheer it on. Maybe they'll get jumpy. Maybe they'll do a nice cut.
Hey, Phil is competing in Romania. Andrew Tate's calling us for tickets, man. Andrew Tate said, whoa, what are you guys doing, man? I got to show up at that show.
Well, that will happen this fall.
The manosphere.
And this fall, speaking of fall, we'll be talking about the fall of one particular athlete from last year, and that'll all happen when we come back on Primetime Muscle.
Was it really a fall?
It was a fall.
People always ask how I got here. I was willing to work just a little harder than everyone else. Every damn day. If I can have hundreds of hours back, I'm gonna grab them. Spending hours prepping chicken, rice, and vegetables, F that. I rely on perfect nutrition. I rely on Trifecta.
All right, welcome back. So, we had a guy that won a bunch of pro shows this year, made his Olympia debut, and thankfully for the excitement of the sport, talked a whole lot of trash on the lead up. And then you make it to the big show, and sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. Andrew Jack was one of the guys it worked for.
Okay, I'm going to say this. I love Blessing Awodibu. I love for what he stands. I love his trash talking. And some people are going to say, well, he's all trash talking. Shut the hell up. You don't know what you're talking about. This man won the Indy Pro and he won the New York Pro. He's a great bodybuilder. Were the expectations high for the Mr. Olympia? Yes, they were. Did he deliver? No, he didn't. He'll be the first one to know it. But I'm standing by Blessing. He won 2 pro shows in 2022. He talked trash, he delivered entertainment, and he just missed his peak in 1 show. I believe in the young man. I know he's a superstar. And let me tell you, remember he had that beef with Charles Griffin?
Oh, yeah.
Remember? Charles Griffin, I got to give credit, was backstage, and he was there with Blessing saying, you are going to come back like a warrior. This is the kind of sportsmanship that we love. Blessing is going to come back, and he's going to shut us all up.
Now, you were backstage.
Yeah, I was backstage. I don't really consider it a fall for Blessing. I mean, it's his first time getting into the Mr. Olympia. You're basically still a rookie in the sport. You're still trying to find your way in the gym. You're still trying to find your way with developing your physique, your mind, the mentality behind becoming a champion, and your posing. Everything is still so raw with this guy. So it's not a fall. You won 2 pro shows. Like Terrick said, you won 2 pro shows.
Big pro shows.
That's not a fall. That's you're still coming upward in the sport. And to try to re-peak at the Olympia is very hard for a lot of people. And maybe that was just a part of the situation with him. I think it just missed his peak a little.
But we talked about this. We'll let you tell this story.
That's not a
You've
fault.
probably never been here. I've been there. I don't know if you've been there, where you're backstage at a show. I was there at Masters Nationals about 3 years ago, where everybody's starting to peel off the shirts. And I look over, and I'm in the over 50 class. I look over and I see this guy, and I go, oh, crap. There goes my pro card. And I walked over to the guy and I said, hey, man, what class are you? And he goes, oh, I'm much older than you. Don't worry about it. And what do you mean older? He goes, I'm doing the over 60 and the over 65. I'll never get down to the over 50s. And he swept everything. He's like a statue. But you said Blessing was backstage when the other boys were starting to peel.
No, that was his story.
Oh, yeah, I don't have a problem.
It's a history.
You tell your story
There's
then.
You had an observation.
Hey,
so
man, I don't have a
put it out
problem.
there. Put the camera on him.
Backstage
put the
rat. Get to
camera
it.
on
Put
me.
the camera
I'm not
on
gonna
him.
back down like
Put the
you,
camera
Chris.
on him.
So I love the dynamics backstage, and there was a dynamic between Derek Lunsford and Nick Walker.
Little creeper.
You could tell that they were looking at each other. Backstage at the Mr. Olympia, you see a lot of guys, taking off their shirts. You're overly confident. You're in the middle of everybody, pumping up. If you're a little bit hesitant, you talk to your coach. Hey, what'd you think of that guy?
Yeah, you want to get a look and see if they're going to fare against you well.
I think Blessing knew full well he wasn't at his best. I think he knew full well. And the reason I tell you this is because at the backstage of the Mr. Olympia, he was on the left corner right here, sitting down, and he still had his jacket when most of them were already pumping up. Oh, most bodybuilders.
Derek and Nick.
Nick, Hadi, all of them were already, hey, there's no more hiding right now. You got to take off your shirt and show it. And I think Blessing was one of the last guys to say,
Like the pasty kid that doesn't want to go in the pool. I'm not taking my shirt off.
That is an indication to where what cuts you've been watching all week long in the mirror in your hotel room. But then you see some cuts and some sides and some veins or some striations that you don't have and you don't have. That's when you start to worry, like, man,
let me
I'm
tell
slipping by the minute.
It's like this. When Chris and I were in our 20s, we're like lights on. Now that we're in our 50s, 40s, we don't have a problem with the lights off. You know what I mean? So if you want the lights off, or if you're covering up backstage, that means you might not be that confident,
That's right. But I don't consider it a fall. I don't consider it a fall. I think it's just a matter of hard to peak again. You're gonna find when you're doing multiple shows per year, you're not going to be at your best at all the shows.
He was holding water. He was not in his best conditioning. One of the legs was compromised. If you look at his pictures from the New York Pro and the Olympia, if he had brought that same package from the Olympia, he would have been right there, possibly fighting for a top 10. We shouldn't be so hard on Blessing. I love the guy. He's going to come back.
I love his energy. I love the trash talk. I love what it brings to the sport, whether it's manufactured or whether it's genuine. It's an air that you usually get from a fight weigh-in.
The boogeyman.
The boogeyman. The boogeyman will be back, and the boogeyman will be better.
For sure.
So anybody else that we thought had a precipitous, boogeyman? So he has to requalify this year big time. Where do you think he's going to pick?
Well, he doesn't like Ian Valliere. Ian Valliere doesn't like him. So
they really don't like each other?
No,
they
those
don't
podcasts.
like each other.
So I was on that live with you. I was on that Olympia TV.
He said, you tried to make me a punk and I'm going to respond. They don't like each other. They should pick a show they're competing against each other.
I want to see that matchup.
Charles Griffin, the definition, he was on the third call out. After the show, he came up to me and said, Terrick, look me straight in the eye and tell me I didn't belong on that second call out. I said, Charles, you need to have pizza right now. Charles Griffin also doesn't like Blessing. They had that beef. He's a pit bull. All these guys, they wanted to be in the top 10. They were not in the top 10. They need to requalify. Ian Valliere is pissed. Charles Griffin is pissed. Blessing is pissed. They should pick a show, the Chicago Pro, the Tampa Pro, the New York Pro, and all do it together.
And all besides Charles Griffin, all those guys are looking for different coaching to, they were not happy with where they look, and they're looking for different coaching already. So, Charles is the only one that's keeping the same coach out of those three.
Historian over here, New York Pro. When do we have a couple of back-to-back guys? Was Victor Martinez one of the last guys to go back-to-back?
Victor Martinez was a back-to-back guy. So people forget that one of the greatest champions of the New York Pro was Marcos Rule, right? That freaky. People forget that Phil Heath won the New York Pro. People forget that Dexter Jackson, after winning the Olympia, went back because he wanted to have that title, the New York Pro title.
I won the New York Pro also.
So, and people don't know. People don't know the New York Pro was previously known as the Night of Champions.
That's what I won.
Which, 1992, Mohamed Benaziza beat, Dorian Yates. It's one of the most traditional shows in the history of bodybuilding. So when people come up to me and say, well, Blessings all talk, I'm like, shut the hell up.
He won the New York Pro.
He won the New York Pro.
Yeah, that's a long-running standard top-tier show.
Top tier. So we'll look forward to that. We'll look forward to other people. I appreciated Charles Griffin, the show that he did not win, and then a couple weeks later came back and qualified and just tightened up a little bit more and came in a little bit harder.
Indie Pro, Blessing, and Charles Griffin on a last call out. And Charles won some poses. But in the end, Blessing Awodibu prevailed. He goes to New York, and he looks even better. The week after, there's the California show, and Charles Griffin wins. And then he goes, I'm going to destroy Blessing Awodibu at the Olympia. And Blessing responds, you ungrateful MF. If I went to California, I would have taken that money from you.
Hey, everybody at that show, man, he took people out. And I was backstage at that show.
And they met at the Olympia.
He was talking to himself in the mirror.
Who, Charles Griffin?
Yeah, he was psyched up. I don't know if he was ready to go to a football game or what, but he was psyched up backstage.
Charles Griffin out of his mind.
Yeah, he was backstage. He was
Charles
even
Griffin,
on the stage, he was like, give me another pose. Give me another pose.
I'll tell you a story about Charles Griffin, okay?
Give me another pose.
Charles Griffin is a crazy dog. He's a crazy
the pit
dog.
bull, I'm telling you.
Okay, he's competing at the USAs. He's a heavyweight. Cody Montgomery wins. In second place, Gerald Williams. In third place, Charles Griffin. He looked great. Coming off the stage, Charles Griffin looks at the judging panel and says, I will see you in Miami.
At Nationals.
Yes. That crazy dog goes to Miami and wins his pro card. What kind of man in his amateur ranks looks at the judging panel and says, I will see you in Miami, and goes on to win?
With those eyes.
And Cody Montgomery won the USAs. He won the overall. Gerald Williams, who's a very close friend of Chris Cormier, goes on to win the North Americans. They both had very good careers, but it was Charles Griffin that placed third that had the best career as a pro.
Yeah.
Well,
Terrick, like that sometime.
Always Chris Cormier, the real deal. As always, comment, like, subscribe, share your thoughts on what we've talked about today.
Likes. We dropped some bombs today, guys.
Subscribe to Olympia TV right now.
Get them likes up.
And as always, I'm Tim Wilkins. Thank you so much for supporting our channel, and we'll see you next time on Primetime Muscle.